Hello everyone, this is Amit here, and in this session, I'm supposed to discuss about writing a thesis. So basically, we'll discuss what and how, what we are supposed to write when it comes to writing a thesis, what we need to think about, and how we have to compose the content and the results and different chapters of the thesis. So with that intention, I came here. I hope. At the end of this video you will able to know and that what and how about writing a thesis, and this will help to all the beginners who is supposed to write their master or PhD thesis this year. So let me continue. Yes, we are supposed to talk about the abstract, which is really important part of that any thesis, either master, dissertation, or thesis of PhD, and introductions, which is a chapter. Then, what are the chapters one need to include in the thesis, and what is literature survey, research gap, the method we are supposed to use, and the result interpretation, how we should interpret the result, and the conclude. So these are the things we are supposed to discuss in this session. The first thing is abstract, what it is actually. Whatever we are supposed to do in a thesis work, either from the introduction of the subject to the literature, the background, the work have been done earlier in that area, either the method we are using and the material we are using, the result of that, the outcome of that basically. And so all these things have to be compiled in a few words. So something it comes on a single page with few words, which actually reflects all the work and the processes you have used to execute that object, that's the target you have set. So this is something called abstract. Here you can see with the example also. The second thing is introduction. Before I go to introduction, I would like to let you know the chapters we have to include in the thesis work. There may be 5 to 6 chapters when it comes to master thesis, and it may vary. Actually, it is not compulsory, but at least you need to write 5 chapters, because so you can conclude. You can keep everything in a very systematic and arranged way, because you will have so many data to reflect on your paper. And when it comes to PhD, it may be the same 5 to 6 degree chapter, but 6 to 8 mostly they take, because PhD is something, it's very huge experiment, so there will be so many data to present. So it may vary from 6 to 8 or 5 even also. So the first chapter we have to use in our thesis writing is called introduction, and the second chapter is literature, third is methods and materials, what I'm going to explain each step by step in the next slides. Then FEMO simulations or mathematical thing if you're using, then you can add some chapters for that also, and one chapter for result, and then conclusions and references we add. The introduction, which is from the first chapter. In this chapter, what we write actually, either we are going to work for some system, some mechanical system, or some processes, whatever the object, whatever the subject we are supposed to work, we have to be specific into that subject. We have to talk about the background of the subjects. We may use some components of that, special features of that, classifications of that, and if there is some theories and some laws works behind that, then we can add those things in this chapter. So we have to be very specific to the subject we are working, either process or the object product. The second chapter, which is about literature, this is really very important, because this is the section where you learn actually what you are supposed to do. Till now you only know the subject or the area you are working on, but what you are working on and how you will be working, how you will achieve the target, actually this chapter teaches you. Literature basically means uh, the work you are supposed to do and the work have been done earlier in that subject, you have to figure out, right? Suppose you are working in 2021, then till 2021 there are so many work have been done in that, so you have to explore so many research of that subject, and you have to figure out what other work have been done till date, and how they have used the method they have used, and then you can conclude that there's some research gap, because this is the chapter from you have to find out some research gap. Research gap basically means there may be so many methods and materials might have been used earlier for that particular subject or process you are going to use. Some theories have been used earlier, but still there is something can be used, right? This is what we have to find out, that is called gap. It something yeah something something can be used but not yet used actually. So this is something we can set our objective on, right? And when you find the research gap from the literatures, from going through the earlier research work, you figure out some research gap, and on that basis you actually set your objective, the objective you are supposed to work on. Then the third chapter, which is about research methodology. Basically, when we figure out, when we set the objective we are supposed to work on, actually we think, oh, this is something we are supposed to work on. Now, how we are going to work on, and what are the methods we are going to use. If you are doing some material based analysis or design, then what material we are going to use. So these things we do in this chapter. This is called research methodology. It may be analytical design or FEM based design, or so many things when it comes to apart from mechanical thing. Here you can see the example. There one page which is where you can see mathematical things are there, that is part of analytical design. So you have to go through so many mathematical equations, you have to derive equations for that. And here's a model of which is made in CATIA, and then analysis was performed in ANSYS. These two images you can see. So these are the things, the process you are going to use, you can mention in this chapter, the third chapter, which is called research methodology. And especially you may add a fourth chapter, chapter 4, especially for materials, or either for you can use some, if you have doing if you're doing FEM based designs. Basically what happens when you perform some analysis on CATIA, ANSYS software, then you get so many images of that, right? So number of images will be there. So what we do, for better interpretation of the result and the content, we may have a particular chapter for that FEM analysis, simulation based analysis. So each and every image we can insert into that, and we can explain the particular each image, what the image actually talks about. So this is about chapter 4. If you are doing FEM analysis, you can have a particular chapter for that. Then the fifth chapter, which is about result interpretation, very very important chapter. In this chapter what we do actually, the objective we have said and the method also we have used. Now we have result, right? After going through the, after executing that process or whatever the method we have used to achieve our target, we get some result, either some numerical thing or some images or whatever the things are. Now we have to arrange it in a very systematic way, so we can convince the someone to actually go through. And so this chapter is all about the result interpretation, how we arranged, how we present the result we got, the outcome of that to design and analysis work. So this may include that tables, because so many numerical things will be there. It may have some graphs, that is really important to actually show the variations there is happening. and that percentage variations. Because if you talk about the percentage being increased or percentage by being decreased, that sounds good, because people basically you know basically it it is it you may be asked for that, how much percentage you are improving by or something, and the factors being affected by with that analysis or design. So these are the things we have to present in the fifth chapter, that is about result interpretation. And the conclusion, like abstract, we have done something, like whatever the thing we have done, the process we have used, and the result we have, like that, we used to interpret each and everything in a single page with few words. That is called abstract. Compiling the so many things a very small form, that is abstract. But now what is conclusions? It is quite different from result. Why? Because we don't give any particular data or something. Overall outcome, how it is superior from the earlier work, by what percentage and by what factors it is superior from the earlier work, whatever the things are. These are the things we have to talk in this chapter, which is called conclusions. And references is very important thing. Basically it comes in the last of the report of thesis work, and the format we used to write our references is, that is APA. Here APA stand for American Psychological Association. References is all about the sources you have studied, the papers, and your work is inspired from, and you get some idea, you get some data from that. So basically you have to give some justifications of that, the resources you have been through. The format of the reference is like, first we have to use the name of the authors, because we are reading the research paper to prepare the literature part. You might have seen that, you will see there's some authors who have published that paper, right? So first we have to use that author's name, and in bracket we have to indicate the year the paper was published, and the title of the paper, we have to give some name to the actually paper, like Pressure Vessel or something, whatever it is, and it will be published in the journal. Then we have to use the journals like that, the volumes and so many things. So these are the basic formats of APA, which is for referencing actually. Now this is a very big topic, research publishing a paper and publishing a review paper. But as some university and institution actually ask you to submit a research or review paper, either paid service from or public free service, just along with your thesis. But it takes time actually. So just talking in a very brief for that. Research paper, basically whatever the work you have done, you get published on the internet, and you get some just to like the work, when you prepare literature, you also search from some research paper or some other work, right? So that's things, whatever the work you have done, if you have done something better than that, if your result is good, then sounds good, then you must publish a paper, just to let the other world know, just to let other people inspired, like that. And it's something intellectual property of yours, so that is something research paper. In review paper, what we do, we don't use any methods, we don't modify, we simply go through the literatures, so many literatures of a particular subject, and on that basis we conclude something. These are the journals, like IJRA says, paid journals. You have to, if you pay, you can get your paper easily, but that is not very trustworthy. And there's along with some names like Elsevier's, Springer, Searchgate. These are the journals, free journals. But if you get a single paper published into that will be good for you, especially someone who's going for academics. One must have, but it's free, of course, but it takes time, and you need to have a very strong and very quality work to get published paper in such journals. So this is all about I wanted to share with you, and I hope you have learned something about writing a thesis. And the intention of mine to bring this presentation was just to have an idea what and how about the writing a thesis. So I hope you understand what you are supposed to write and how you are supposed to write. And yes, thank you very much.